Hello everybody, today we are doing chapter 29 well, you'll see in the title of the video. This is what you are to do to consecrate them, so they may serve me as priests. Take a young bull and 2 rams without defect, and from the finest sweet flour make brown loaves without yeast, thick loaves without yeast, and with olive oil mixed in, and thin leaves without yeast, and brushed with olive oil. Put them in a basket and present them along with the bull and 2 rams. Then bring Aaron and his sons at the entrance of the tent of meeting, and wash them with water. Take the garments and dress Aaron with the tunic, the robes of ephod, the ephod itself, and the breastpiece. Fasten the ephod on him by its skillfully woven waistband. Put the turban on his head, and attach the sacred emblem to the turban. Take the anointing oil and anoint him by pouring it on his head. Bring his sons and dress them in tunics, and fasten caps on them. Then tie sashes on Aaron and his sons. The priesthood is theirs by lasting ordinance. Then you shall ordain Aaron and his sons. Bring the bull into the front of the tent of meeting. Aaron and his sons shall lay their hands on its head, slaughter it in the Lord's presence at the entrance of the tent of meeting. Take some of the bull's blood and put it on the horns of the altar with your finger, and pour out the rest of it at the base of the altar. And take all the fat on the internal organs, the long robe of the liver, and both kidneys with the fat on them, and burn them at the altar. But burn the bull's flesh and its hide and its intestines outside the camp. It is a sin offering. Take one of the rams, and Aaron and his sons shall lay their hands on its head, slaughter it, and take the blood and splash it against the sides of the altar. Cut the ram into pieces, and wash the internal organs and the legs, putting them on the head and the other pieces. Then burn the entire ram on the altar. It is a burnt offering to the Lord, a pleasing aroma, a food offering presented to the Lord. Take the other ram, and Aaron and his sons shall lay their hands on its head. Slaughter it, take some of its blood, and put on the lobes of the right ears of Aaron and his sons, on the thumbs of their right hands, and their big toes of their right feet. Then splash the blood against the sides of the altar. And take some of the blood from the altar, and some of the anointing oil, and sprinkle it on Aaron and his garments, and his sons on their garments. Then he and his sons and their garments shall be consecrated. Take this ram, the fat tail, the fat of the internal organs, the long rope of the liver, both kidneys, and the fat on them, and the right thigh. This is the ram for the orientation. From the basket of the bread made without yeast, which is before the Lord, take 1 round loaf, 1 thick loaf, 1 olive oil mixed in, 1 thin loaf. Put all these in the hands of Aaron and his sons, and have them wave them before the Lord as a wave offering. Then take them from their hands and burn them along the altar, along the burnt offering, for a pleasing aroma to the Lord, a food offering presented to the Lord. After you take the breast of the ram of Aaron's ordination, wave it before the Lord as a wave offering, and it will be your share. Consecrate those parts of the ordinate rams that belong to Aaron and his sons, the breast that was waved and the thigh that was presented. This has always been the perpetual share of the Israelites for Aaron and his sons. It is the contribution of the Israelites are to make to the Lord their fellowship offerings. Aaron's sacred garments will belong to his descendants, so that they can be anointed and ordained in them. The son who succeeds him as priest and comes to the tent of meeting to minister the holy place is to wear them for 7 days. Take the ram for the ordination, and cook the meat in a sacred place at the entrance of the tent of meeting. Aaron and his sons are to eat the meat of the ram and the bread that is in the basket. They are to eat these offerings by which atonement was made for their ordination and consecration, but no one else may eat them, because they are sacred. And if the meat of the ordination lamb, or any bread is left until morning, burn it up. It must not be eaten, because it is sacred. Do for Aaron and his sons everything I have commanded you, taking 7 days to ordain them. sacrificing a bull each day as a sin offering to make atonement. Purify the altar by making atonement for it, and atone it, to consecrate it. For 7 days make atonement for the altar, consecrate it. Then the altar will be most holy, and whoever touches it will be holy. This is what you are to offer the altar regularly each day: 2 lambs a year old, offering one in the morning and the other at twilight. With the first lamb of a tenth of an ephah of the finest flour mixed with a quarter of hin of oil from pressed olives, and a quarter of hin from wine as to drink an offering. Sacrifice the other lamb at twilight with the same grain offering and its drink offering as in the morning, a pleasing aroma, a food offering presented to the Lord. For generations to come, this burnt offering is to be made regularly at the entrance of the tent of meeting before the Lord. There I will meet you and speak to you. There also I will meet with the Israelites, and the place will be consecrated by my glory. So I will consecrate the tent of meeting, and the altar will consecrate Aaron and his sons to serve me as priests. Then I will dwell among the Israelites and be their God. They will know that I am the Lord their God, who brought them out of Egypt, so I may dwell among them. I am the Lord their God. I am so glad that Jesus died on the cross for my sins, so I don't have to do any of this. It sounds like a buttload of work where I can just be like, "Dear Jesus, thank you." Man, brutal. The highlight of sin and just like what you have to do towards the end of sin. Crazy. Anyways, make an altar of acacia wood for burning incense. It is to be square, a cubit long and a cubit wide, 2 cubits high. Its horns are of one piece with it. Overlay the top and all sides with horns made with pure gold, and make a gold molding around it. Make 2 gold rings from the altar below the molding, 2 on each of the opposite sides to hold the poles used to carry it. Make the poles of acacia wood and overlay them with gold. Put the altar in front of the curtain and the shields, the Ark of the Covenant, law, before the altar, the atonement cover, that is, the tablets of the covenant law, where I will meet with you. Aaron must burn fragrant incense on the altar every morning. When he tends to the lamps, he must burn incense again when he lights the lamps at twilight. So incense will burn regularly before the Lord for the generations to come. Do not offer this altar any other incense or burnt offering or grain offering, and do not pour a drink offering on it. Once a year, Aaron shall make atonement on its horns. This annual atonement must be made with the blood of atoning sin offering for the generations to come. It is most holy for the Lord. Then the Lord said to Moses, "When I take census of the Israelites to count them, each must pay the Lord a ransom for his life. At the time he is counted, there's no plagues will come on them when you number them. Each one who crosses over to those already counted is given half a shekel, according to the sanctuary shekel, which weighs 26 gerahs. This half shekel is an offering to the Lord. All who cross over, those 20-year-olds or more, are to give an offering to the Lord. The rich are not to give more than half a shekel, and the poor are not to give less than half a shekel. Not to give less when you make an offering to the Lord to atone for their lives. Receive the atonement money from the Israelites and use it for the service of the tent of meeting. It will be a memorial for the Israelites before the Lord. Make an atonement for your lives." Then the Lord said to Moses, "Make a bronze basin with its bronze stand for washing. Place it between a tent of meeting and the altar, and put water in it. Aaron and his sons are to wash their hands and their feet with water from it. Whenever they enter the tent of meeting, they shall wash with water, so that they will not die. Also, when they approach the altar to minister by presenting a food offering to the Lord, they shall wash their hands and feet, so they will not die. This is to be a lasting ordinance to Aaron and all his sons for generations to come." Then the Lord said to Moses, "Take the following fine spices: 500 shekels of liquid myrrh, half as much, that is 250 shekels of fragrant cinnamon, 250 shekels of fragrant calamus, 500 shekels of cassia, all according to the sanctuary shekel, and a hin of olive oil. Make these into sacred anointing oils, a fragrant blend, and the work of a perfumer. It will be sacred anointing oil. Then use it to anoint the tent of meeting, the ark of the covenant law, the table and its articles, the lampstand and its accessories, the altar of incense, and the altar of burnt offering, and all its utensils, and the basin with its stand. You shall consecrate them, so they will be most holy, and whatever touches them will be holy. Anoint Aaron and his sons with consecrate, so that they may serve me as priests. Say to the Israelites, this is to be my sacred anointing oil for the generations to come. Do not pour it on anyone else's body, and do not make any oil using the same formula. It is sacred, and you are to consider it sacred. Whoever makes perfume like it and puts it on any other than a priest must be cut off from their people. Then the Lord said to Moses, take fragrant spices, gum, resin, oisha, and kayabum, and pure frankincense, all in equal amounts, and make a fragrant blend of incense, and work of a perfumer. It is to be salted and pure sacred. Grind some of it into powder and place it in front of the ark of the covenant law in the tent of meeting, where I will meet with you. It shall be most holy to you. Do not make any incense with this formula or yourselves. Consider it holy to the Lord. Whoever makes incense like it to enjoy its fragrance must be cut off from their people. 31. Then the Lord said to Moses, see that I have chosen Bezalel, son of Uri, and the son of Ur, from the tribe of Judah, and I have filled him with the Spirit of God, with wisdom and understanding, with knowledge and all kinds of skills, to make artistic designs of works in gold, silver, and bronze, to cut and set stones, to work in wood, and to engage in all kinds of crafts. Moreover, I have appointed Abilad, son of Ashimach, the tribe of Dan, to help him. I also give him ability to all the skilled workers to make everything I have commanded you: the tent of meeting, the ark of the covenant, the law with the atoning cover, and all the other furnishings of the tent, the table and its articles, the pure gold lampstand and its accessories, the articles of incense, altar of incense, the altar of burnt offerings, and all its utensils, the basin with its stands, and also the woven garments, both the sacred garments and Aaron, the priestly garments for the sons to serve as priests, and the anointing oil and the frankincenses for the holy place. They are to make them just as I commanded you. Then the Lord said to Moses, say to the Israelites, you must observe my Sabbath. This will be a sign between me and you for generations to come, so that you may know that I am the Lord, who makes you holy. Observe the Sabbath, because it is holy to you. Anyone who desecrates this is to be put to death. Those who do any work on that day must be cut off from their people. Sheesh. For 6 days work is to be done, but on the seventh day is a day of Sabbath rest, holy to the Lord. Whoever does any work on the Sabbath must be put to death. The Israelites are to observe the Sabbath, celebrating it for generations to come, as a lasting covenant. It will be a sign between me and Israelites forever. For in the 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. When the Lord finished speaking to Moses on Mount Sinai, he gave them two tablets of the covenant law, the tablets inscribed by the finger of God. When Moses saw the people saw that Moses was so long in coming down from the mountain, they gathered around Aaron and said, let us make gods who will go before us as the fellow Moses who brought us out of Egypt. We don't know what has happened to him. Aaron answered them, take off the gold earrings that your wives and your sons and your daughters are wearing and bring them to me. So all the people took their earrings and brought them to Aaron. He took what they handed him and made it into an idol, cast in the shape of a calf, fashioned it with a tool, and they said, these are your gods, Israel, who brought you up and out of Egypt. When Aaron saw this, he built an altar in front of the calf and announced, tomorrow there will be a festival to the Lord. So the next day the people rose up early and sacrificed burnt offerings and presented fellowship offerings. Afterwards they sat down and drank, eat and drink, and got up and indulged in revelry. Then the Lord said to Moses, go down, because your people whom you brought out of Egypt have become corrupt. They have been quick to turn away from what I commanded them, and they have made themselves an They have made themselves an idol. This is an idol, cast in the shape of a calf. They have bowed down to it and sacrificed it to it and have said, "These are your gods, Israel, who have brought you out of Egypt." "I have seen these people," the Lord said to Moses. "They are stiff-necked people. Now leave me alone so that my anger may burn against them, and that I may destroy them. Then I will make you into a great nation." But Moses sought the favor of the Lord, his God. "Lord," he said, "why should you burn your anger against your people, whom you brought out of Egypt with great power and a mighty hand? Why should the Egyptians say, 'It was with evil intent that he brought them out, to kill them in the mountains and wipe them from the face of the earth'? Turn your fierce anger. Relent and do not bring disaster on your people. Remember your servants Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whom you swore by yourself, 'I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars, and I will give the descendants all this land I promised them, and it will be their inheritance forever.' Then the Lord relented and did not bring his people the disaster he had threatened. Moses turned and went down to the mountain of the 2 tablets and the covenant law in his hand. They were inscribed on both sides, front and back. The tablets were the work of God, and the writing was the writing of God, engraved in the tablets. When Joshua heard the noises and the people shouting, he said to Moses, "There is sound in the war or in the camp." Moses replied, "It is not a sound of victory. It is not the sound of defeat. It is a sound of singing I hear." When Moses approached the camp and saw the calf and the dancing, his anger burned, and he threw the tablets out of his hands, breaking them into pieces at the foot of the mountain. And he took the calf and the people made, burned it in the fire, and he ground it into powder, scattered it in the water, and made the Israelites drink it. He said to Aaron, "What did these people do to you that led you into such great sin?" "Do not be angry, my lord," Aaron answered. "You know how prone these people are to evil. They said to me, 'Make us a god. Make us gods who will go before us.' As for this fellow Moses who brought us out of Egypt, we don't know what has happened to him." So I told them, "Whoever has any gold jewelry must take it off." And they gave it to me, and I threw it into the fire, and out came this golden calf. Just randomly. Moses saw that the people were running wild, and Aaron let them get out of control, and so became a laughingstock of their enemies. So we stood at the entrance of the camp and said, "Whoever is for the Lord, come to me." And all the Levites rallied to him. Then he said to them, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. Each man strap a sword to his side. Go back and forth through the camp, from one end to the other, each killing his brother and his friend and neighbors." And the Levites did as Moses commanded, and that day about 3,000 of the people died. Then Moses said, "You have been set apart to the Lord today, and you are against your own sons and brothers, and he has blessed you for this day." The next day Moses said to the people, "You have committed a great sin, but now we will go up to the Lord. Perhaps I can make atonement for your sin." So Moses went back to the Lord and said, "Oh, what a great sin these people have committed. They have made themselves gods of gold. But now, please forgive their sins. But if not, then blot me out of the book you have written." Then the Lord replied to Moses, "Whoever has sinned against me, I will blot out of my book. Now go, win the people to my place I spoke of, and my angel will go before you. However, when the time comes for me to punish, I will punish them for their sins." And the Lord struck the people with a plague because of what they did with the calf that Aaron had made. Sheesh. Dang. What the